Our world is a library of mysteries, some solved, others still waiting to be unraveled. But what if I told you there's a page in the book of Earth's mysteries that's as startling as it is fascinating? Today we're traveling to Brazil, the land of samba, soccer, and believe it or not, one of the most intriguing UFO incidents in history. An event that's been compared to the Roswell incident of 1947. But unlike Roswell, this chapter from the late 1970s has managed to stay relatively obscured from the world's lens. So buckle up as we dive into the depths of Operation Saucer, or as it's popularly known, the Brazilian Roswell. In 1977, in the remote reaches of the Amazon River Delta, something inexplicable began happening in the Brazilian island of Colares. This tranquil and somewhat isolated place, known for its simple fishing villages and sprawling, lush rainforests, became the epicenter of a series of strange sightings that left its inhabitants frightened and astounded. These events have come to be referred to as the Brazilian Roswell, one uncanny echo of the famed incident that occurred in the New Mexico desert 3 decades prior. The sightings were anything but ordinary. The residents started observing bizarre, glowing objects hovering in the sky. These phenomena were not the occasional fleeting glimpses we often associate with UFO sightings. No, these were recurring, often nightly occurrences that lasted for several months. The objects, described by eyewitnesses as saucers or luminous spheres, displayed unconventional movement patterns and would hover over the area, emitting intense beams of light. Local doctors were overwhelmed with patients complaining of mysterious ailments after these encounters. The local government, unable to provide an explanation or assistance, called in the Brazilian Air Force for help. This marked the beginning of an unprecedented military investigation codenamed Operation Saucer. Operation Saucer, under the command of Captain Urange Hollander, carried out extensive research on the sightings. The team comprised of about 24 soldiers who set up a base on Colares Island, aiming to document this unexplainable phenomenon scientifically. They reportedly managed to capture hundreds of photographs and over 16 hours of film footage showing the strange objects. Interviews were conducted with many locals, documenting their experiences and encounters in meticulous detail. The operation, however, was shrouded in an air of mystery and secrecy. While the investigation was taking place, news about these events was not permitted to leak to the outside world. It was a clandestine endeavor that remained largely unacknowledged until years later. The lengths to which the Brazilian military went to study these phenomena begs the question: what exactly was happening on the island of Colares in 1977? And, perhaps more intriguingly, what did the military discover during Operation Saucer? The lights and strange craft witnessed during this time weren't simply spectacles that the villagers could admire from a safe distance. No, these sightings were interactive, sometimes distressingly so. Residents reported experiencing both physical and psychological effects following encounters with the strange, unexplained phenomena, adding another layer to this. The villagers described the lights as intensely bright, usually taking on an array of vibrant colors. These were no mere flashes in the night sky, but rather intricate, luminous shapes performing elaborate maneuvers that defied conventional understanding of physics. Their movements seemed deliberate, as if controlled by some unknown intelligence. The effects they had on the local population were equally peculiar. Numerous individuals reported being targeted by beams of light emitted from these craft, resulting in a variety of symptoms. Some experienced intense heat and were left with first-degree burns on their skin. Others described a sensation akin to being pricked by hundreds of needles. Paralysis, weakness, and fatigue were also commonly reported following these encounters, leaving the victims drained of energy and in a state of deep confusion. One of the most chilling aspects of these encounters was that many victims also reported significant hair loss in the areas where the beams had hit them, a condition known as alopecia. Furthermore, puncture marks or small wounds were often found on the bodies of these individuals, leading to speculation about possible extractions of blood or biological material. What makes these accounts all the more troubling is that they were not isolated incidents, but rather widespread phenomena affecting a large portion of the local population. Indeed, over the course of just a few months, the local health post registered more than 400 cases of individuals suffering from these peculiar symptoms. The consistency of these reports, combined with the physical evidence, defied any straightforward, conventional explanation. deepening the intrigue and mystery surrounding the Brazilian Roswell. But like a sudden blackout in a vibrant city, Operation Saucer came to an abrupt end. It was December of 1977, and despite the operation having just scratched the surface of understanding the phenomena, the Brazilian military abruptly concluded it. This decision came as a surprise considering the increasing momentum of the investigations. The sightings showed no signs of diminishing. The populace was still gripped by fear, and the question of what these lights were remained unanswered. The hasty closure sparked a series of speculations. Some suggested that the military had made contact or had come to some agreement with the beings behind the lights. Others conjectured that they might have found something profoundly unsettling, something that either scared them into silence or was so significant that it had to be kept under wraps. Conspiracy theorists leaped at the decision. They suspected that the US government, given their vested interest in UFO phenomena, as demonstrated by initiatives like Project Blue Book, might have exerted pressure on Brazil to end the operation and keep the findings confidential. They point to potential cover-ups and suppression of information in the interest of national security. After all, what if these entities represented an unknown and potentially superior technology? But amidst all this speculation, the military kept tight-lipped and all files related to Operation Saucer were classified. The lead investigator, Captain Hollander, was reassigned, and any discussion about the operation was discouraged. It was as if a veil of silence had descended over the whole affair, making it one of the most captivating yet least understood UFO encounters in history. Years later, in 1997, Brazil did release some files pertaining to Operation Saucer, but the information contained within was frustratingly sparse. It seemed that the real heart of the matter, the true answers to what transpired during those strange months in 1977, were either lost, still hidden, or perhaps out of this world. Now, as is often the case when governments appear to hide information, a whole wave of conspiracy theories and unanswered questions surfaced. Who were the true puppeteers of these dazzling lights? Were they just an unexplained natural phenomenon, or did they indeed have otherworldly origins? Did the Brazilian military really make contact with these entities? The answers remain as elusive as the lights themselves, but let's dive deeper into these mysteries. Some of the more common theories suggest an extraterrestrial presence, with believers pointing to the sophisticated maneuvers of the lights and the bizarre symptoms exhibited by those who came into contact with them. These symptoms, including puncture marks and anemia, seem to defy logical explanation, leading some to posit that these were results of alien encounters. In the heart of the conspiracy theory jungle, some suggest that Operation Saucer was a smokescreen for a more secret, more in-depth investigation, one that yielded evidence of alien existence and contact. The abrupt end of the operation is often seen as a sign that the military had found something too potent, too shocking to reveal to the public. Yet others contend that the lights were perhaps secret technological experiments, possibly even orchestrated by the United States or another foreign power. The area around Colares is remote and sparsely populated, making it an ideal location for such clandestine tests. But of course, these are all theories, stories spun in the void of official silence. Despite numerous requests and appeals over the years, the Brazilian government has kept a tight lid on the Operation Saucer files. Captain Hollander, the lead investigator, gave an interview in 1997, claiming he had indeed witnessed the extraterrestrial entities during the operation. However, his mysterious death just a year later has only added fuel to the conspiracy theories and speculation. Thus, the Brazilian Roswell remains shrouded in mystery, a tantalizing question mark in the annals of UFO encounters. The island of Colares, once an obscure fishing community, is now etched in UFO lore as a hotspot of unexplained aerial phenomena and an enduring symbol of the quest for the truth about extraterrestrial life. Now, despite the swirling clouds of mystery and speculation, the Brazilian Roswell incident has left a significant footprint on the sands of time. This extraordinary event isn't just another tale of fleeting lights in the night sky. It has created a lasting legacy and has had a profound influence on the ufology and our perception of the unknown. Firstly, let's consider the sheer intensity and duration of the sightings. Over several months, countless people reported interactions with these inexplicable lights. This wasn't just a solitary UFO sighting, but rather a sustained, intensive phenomenon that affected an entire community. It's fair to say that such a level of activity is unprecedented in the annals of reported extraterrestrial encounters. Additionally, the involvement of the Brazilian military, one of the most powerful in South America, gives an extra layer of credibility to the events. Unlike many other UFO incidents, this one was officially investigated, lending an undeniable gravitas to the sightings. The military's serious approach, complete with a specially dedicated operation and its sudden termination, has intrigued ufologists and investigators ever since. The legacy of the Brazilian Roswell also extends to the cultural impact it has had. The story has been the subject of numerous documentaries, books, and articles. The town of Colares has become a mecca for UFO enthusiasts, with many making pilgrimages to this remote corner of Brazil to experience the location of these mystifying events firsthand. Finally, the Brazilian Roswell has made an indelible impact on the discourse about life beyond Earth. The fact that these sightings were accompanied by physical symptoms in those who witnessed them forces us to confront the idea that if there is other life in the universe, it could interact with us in ways we may not fully understand or anticipate. The incident fuels the ongoing debate and speculation about what lies beyond the boundaries of our planet. Ultimately, the legacy of the Brazilian Roswell is a reminder of our enduring fascination with the unknown, the mysteries of the universe, and our relentless pursuit of answers. No matter how elusive they may be, the skies above us have been a source of wonder and mystery since time immemorial. And within that cosmic expanse, there have been sightings, incidents, phenomena that don't fit neatly into our understanding of the world. Incidents that suggest we might not be alone. UFO crashes. They're a staple of science fiction and the fodder of conspiracy theories. But what happens when these crashes are reported in real life? Are they hoaxes, misinterpretations, or could they be genuine encounters with extraterrestrial technology? Today we'll take a journey through some of the most notable purported UFO crash incidents and the intriguing theories surrounding them. Our journey begins in the summer of 1947, in the quiet town of Roswell, New Mexico. The nearby desert landscape was disrupted when an unidentified flying object crashed into the barren soil. What unfolded after is a narrative of intrigue that continues to fuel discussions to this day. Rancher W.W. Mac Brazel discovered the wreckage, which was unlike anything he had ever seen. It was made of a thin, lightweight material that Brazel described as a sort of metal foil. He could crumple it and it would unfold itself, retaining its original shape. The local military base, Roswell Army Airfield, initially reported the recovery of a flying disc, only to retract the statement a day later, claiming it was a simple weather balloon that had crashed. But this quick change in narrative sparked curiosity and suspicion. Could it have been a cover-up? Several witnesses later came forward decades after the incident. They claimed they saw not only the wreckage of a disc-shaped craft, but also the bodies of its otherworldly occupants. Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who first investigated and recovered some of the wreckage, later openly disputed the weather balloon explanation. He claimed the materials he found were not of this world. The Roswell incident is perhaps the most famous and thoroughly investigated UFO crash in history. It has become the cornerstone of UFO conspiracy theories and has inspired countless books, movies, and TV shows. But despite all the interest and investigation, the question remains: what really happened in Roswell in the summer of 1947? The truth, as they say, may still be out there. Next, let's travel to Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. On the evening of December 9, 1965, a fireball was reported by thousands in at least 6 US states and Ontario, Canada. It streaked over the Detroit, Michigan, Windsor, Canada area, reportedly dropped hot metal debris over Michigan and northern Ohio, and caused sonic booms in western Pennsylvania. It was generally assumed and reported by the press to be a meteor. However, inhabitants of Kecksburg had a different story to tell. Eyewitnesses in the small village described something crashing in the woods, a large, brilliant fireball in the sky. But this was no ordinary meteor. Residents reported a strange acorn-shaped object about the size of a small car. The strange object was adorned with mysterious hieroglyphic-like characters etched into its metallic surface. The military was on the scene quickly, cordoning off the area and removing the object on a flatbed truck under the cover of darkness. Officially, they later reported they found absolutely nothing in the woods. But this quick response and the subsequent secrecy only fueled the rumors of a government cover-up. In the following years, numerous theories have surfaced about the Kecksburg incident. Some suggest it was a crashed Soviet satellite, others claim it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft, and some even believe it was an experimental Nazi de-Glocker device from WW2, somehow displaced in time. While no definitive conclusion has been reached, the Kecksburg incident continues to intrigue ufologists and conspiracy theorists alike. The truth behind this event remains as elusive as the object itself, a mystery concealed within the shadows of the unknown. The Shag Harbor incident, which took place on October 4, 1967 in Nova Scotia, Canada, is another notable UFO crash that has puzzled investigators for decades. This particular incident stands out due to its multiple credible witnesses and an official government acknowledgement that something unexplained indeed happened. On that fateful night, residents reported seeing a sequence of flashing lights in the sky, which were moving in a downward trajectory. These lights eventually hit the water's surface and appeared to float, prompting some witnesses to believe they were seeing a tragic airplane crash. Local authorities were quickly alerted, and a rescue mission was launched under the assumption that an aircraft had crashed into the sea. But when boats arrived at the scene, there was no wreckage, no bodies, and no survivors. Instead, they found a long, yellow foam on the water, a sign that something unusual had occurred. The Canadian military became involved, and an underwater search was initiated. Still, no aircraft wreckage was found, and the case was handed off to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Canadian Coast Guard. They classified it as a UFO report, the only unsolved case in Canada officially classified as a UFO. Over the years, the Shag Harbor incident has provoked numerous theories. Some believe it was a secret military operation, while others propose it was an extraterrestrial craft. Some witnesses even reported seeing a second craft in the sky, seemingly looking for the first one. Despite extensive investigations, including by civilian UFO groups, the true nature of the Shag Harbor incident remains a mystery. It's an enigma that continues to fuel speculation and interest, keeping the incident very much alive in the annals of UFO history. If we're exploring UFO crash incidents, we mustn't overlook the Berwyn Mountain incident in Wales in 1974. This event involves an alleged crash of an unidentified flying object in the Berwyn Mountains. The mystery deepens with the claim of a subsequent military cover-up, which has fueled a lot of speculation over the years. On the night of January 23, 1974, residents in the nearby village of Llandrillo reported a loud explosion and earth tremors. The local community was understandably alarmed, believing they had experienced an earthquake. Many also reported seeing strange lights in the sky moving towards the mountain range. The initial official explanation was that the tremors were caused by an earthquake measuring 3.5 on the Richter scale. However, locals were convinced that the tremors were caused by something crashing into the mountains. This belief was fueled by reports of a significant military presence in the area in the days following the event, leading many to believe that something was being covered up. Over the years, the theories around the Berwyn Mountain incident have ranged from crashed UFOs to secretive military operations. Some believe that an extraterrestrial craft crashed and that the military quickly moved in to retrieve the wreckage and any possible occupants. Others propose that the event was a result of a secretive military experiment gone wrong. Despite numerous requests for information, the UK government has released very little documentation about the incident. This lack of information has only added to the intrigue surrounding the event. Even today, the Berwyn Mountain incident is a focal point for UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists alike, making it one of the most enduring UFO mysteries in the UK. Let's move our focus to the other side of the globe, to a place called Dalnegorsk in the Soviet Union. In the chilly winter evening of January 29, 1986, locals reported a strange reddish sphere flying towards a hill known as Height 611. The object supposedly crashed into the hill, sparking a fire that lasted for hours. The Height 611 incident is unique because of the immediate and extensive research conducted by Soviet scientists in the aftermath. A team led by Dr. Valery Dvuzhilny from the Far Eastern Academy of Sciences gathered samples from the crash site just 2 days later. What they found was peculiar. The site was littered with tiny rock-like particles, metallic in nature, and also unusual black glassy beads. Analysis of these beads revealed them to be almost entirely composed of lead and iron silicate, but it was the way these elements were combined that was unusual. They were structured in a way not typical for naturally occurring minerals or human-made materials. This led the researchers to believe that the object was likely not of earthly origin. Additionally, the trees around the crash site were also affected. They appeared to have been exposed to high heat levels, causing burn damage, but strangely, there was no evidence of a conventional explosion. This further added to the mystery. Despite thorough investigations, what crashed into Height 611 remains a mystery. The unusual nature of the debris and the lack of conventional explanations have led many to believe that this was indeed a UFO crash. Yet, like most UFO incidents, official explanations are scarce and typically dismissive of the extraterrestrial hypothesis. Nevertheless, for many, the Height 611 incident remains a strong piece of evidence in support of the existence of UFOs. How about we step into the time machine and head to the late 19th century, specifically April 17, 1897, in the small town of Aurora, Texas. The event in question predates the Roswell incident by a good half-century, and it's one of the earliest reported UFO crashes. According to local newspaper reports from the time, an airship was seen by several witnesses as it swerved over the town square, then crashed into a windmill on the property of a Judge J.S. Proctor. The explosion that followed destroyed the windmill and the water tank and scattered debris across several acres of ground. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. The townsfolk allegedly discovered a badly disfigured body, which they assumed was the ship's pilot. The body, described as not an inhabitant of this world, was buried with Christian rites in the local cemetery. Reports claim that the wreckage from the crash site had strange hieroglyphic-like symbols. In the 1970s, the case was re-investigated by UFO researchers. They claimed to locate the grave and even applied to exhume the site, but the request was denied. Metal fragments were found in the area which were claimed to be remnants of the UFO, but the results of the analysis were inconclusive. The Aurora case is often dismissed as a hoax, primarily because the town was suffering from a severe economic downturn, and some suggest that the story was concocted to revive interest in the area. But without definitive proof, it remains an intriguing piece of UFO history that continues to fuel speculation about early extraterrestrial visits to Earth. We've journeyed through a landscape of mystery and speculation, diving into numerous accounts of supposed UFO crashes. From Roswell to the Berwyn Mountains, these incidents have spurred countless theories, debates, and investigations. While it's easy to dismiss these stories as mere fabrications or misunderstandings, they do serve a crucial role in fueling our curiosity about what lies beyond our planet. They remind us that the universe is vast, and there's so much we don't yet understand. Could we be visited by beings from another world? Have we already been? The answers are still out there, waiting in the vast expanse of the cosmos. Until next time, remember to keep looking up and questioning everything. Have you ever heard about Bob Lazar? Yes, the same man who sparked the worldwide curiosity and conspiracy theories surrounding Area 51, extraterrestrial technology, and the mystery Element 115. He claims to have worked on reverse engineering alien technology in a secretive base called S4 near Area 51. But how did a supposed physicist from the Midwest end up at the heart of one of the most enduring UFO narratives of our time? And why does his story continue to fascinate us today, decades after he first brought his claims to the public? Let's delve into this cosmic conundrum together. Bob Lazar, a name that sends ripples through the world of UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Born in 1959 in Coral Gables, Florida, Lazar moved to New York during his childhood. He's held a lifelong fascination with science and technology, particularly with jet engines and explosives, and his exploits even led to some minor run-ins with the law. But what truly thrust Lazar into the spotlight wasn't his penchant for pyrotechnics. It was his extraordinary claims in 1989, when he came forward in a televised interview, introducing himself to the world as a physicist and declaring that he had worked in a clandestine facility near the infamous Area 51. This location, he said, was called S4, tucked into the Emigrant Valley and sheltered by the Papoose mountain range. According to Lazar, S4 was the hub of a top-secret operation that focused on reverse engineering alien technology. He claimed to have been part of this covert program, working directly on 9 extraterrestrial craft, each one with different exteriors but identical interiors. His role, he stated, was to help understand and reproduce the incredible technology that powered these vessels. This claim, as outrageous as it was, caught the public's attention. UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists pounced on Lazar's story as proof of the US government's knowledge and involvement with extraterrestrial beings and their technology. But his story also drew skepticism from many others, leading to an ongoing debate about the truth of Lazar's claims, his background, and the very existence of S4. It's this controversy that continues to fog Lazar's story. S4, a location etched into the minds of UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike thanks to Lazar. But what was the nature of the work supposedly conducted at this elusive location? Let's delve into what Lazar described as his experiences there. At S4, according to Lazar, the mission was clear yet unimaginably complex: to reverse engineer advanced extraterrestrial technology. He described the alien craft as sports model flying saucers, powered by a device he referred to as the Element 115 reactor. This mysterious element, which he claimed was not of our planet, allegedly generated a gravity wave that propelled the spacecraft. His role, as part of the back engineering team, was to try to understand how these flying saucers worked and to explore the possibility of duplicating their technology using earthly materials and scientific understanding. It was an intricate task that demanded a fusion of physics, engineering, and a lot of conjecture. But Lazar also spoke about the intense secrecy and compartmentalization that characterized the operation. Each project team at S4 was kept in the dark about the other team's work, minimizing the risk of information leakage. Even within the teams, knowledge was strictly on a need-to-know basis. Furthermore, Lazar claimed that the US government had fabricated academic and professional records to discredit him if he ever broke his oath of secrecy. Indeed, when his claims reached the public, Lazar found his background under intense scrutiny, with critics pointing to discrepancies and lack of verifiable records. But in spite of all the skepticism and controversy, the details of Lazar's account continue to captivate many who are willing to ponder the possibility of a secretive government program focused on alien technology. It's a tale that adds another layer to the intriguing tapestry of UFO lore. Bob Lazar's academic and professional credentials have been the subject of intense debate. His claim of having degrees from the California Institute of Technology, Caltech, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, two of the most prestigious institutions in the world, was met with incredulity and skepticism. When investigators attempted to verify Lazar's educational background, they hit a wall. There were no records of Lazar having attended, let alone graduated from either of these universities. Critics argue this effectively discredits his claim of being a physicist, thus calling into question his alleged role at S4. However, Lazar claimed that his records were deliberately erased to discredit him and suppress the explosive information he disclosed. It's a claim that's difficult to prove, but fuels the intrigue surrounding his story. Lazar's supporters point to his undeniable scientific and technical knowledge, arguing that he couldn't have gained such understanding without substantial education. Additionally, Lazar also claimed to have previously worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory, a top-level research institution in New Mexico. Initial checks turned up no employment records, but an old phone directory did list a Robert Lazar employed by a subcontractor. Furthermore, a news article from before the controversy featured a picture of Lazar standing next to a jet car he claimed to have built, and the article referred to him as a physicist with the Los Alamos Meson Physics Facility. This tug-of-war between Lazar's claims and the verifiable evidence forms a significant part of the Lazar narrative. It's a maze of mystery, sprinkled with apparent contradictions and unanswered questions, stirring the minds of UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. One of the most extraordinary claims Bob Lazar made revolves around an element he referred to as Element 115, which he said was used as the fuel for the alleged extraterrestrial spacecraft at S4. Lazar's description of this element's properties seemed fantastical at the time. He claimed it was capable of generating a gravitational field when excited and could be used for gravity propulsion. This was said to enable the craft to distort gravity around it, allowing for what would appear to us as incredible acceleration and maneuverability, not to mention facilitating travel across vast cosmic distances. He suggested that these distortions in gravity were the reason why observers often reported UFOs as making rapid direction changes and accelerating at unbelievable speeds. In the early 1990s, when Lazar first made these claims, there was no official recognition of element 115 in the periodic table. However, in 2003, scientists were able to synthetically create a super-heavy element with an atomic number of 115. Named Moscovium, it was not as stable as Lazar had claimed element 115 was, and it certainly did not exhibit the gravity-defying properties he described. Nonetheless, this development sparked renewed interest in his story. Additionally, Lazar detailed the design and functionality of the alleged alien spacecraft. He claimed they were powered by a gravity reactor, which utilized element 115 to generate a gravity A wave. The spacecraft allegedly had 3 gravity amplifiers, which could focus the gravity A wave to allow the craft to essentially fall in any direction, explaining their seemingly impossible maneuvers. The technical and detailed nature of Lazar's claims, whether fact or fiction, have undeniably captured the imagination of many and have significantly influenced the discourse around UFO technology and potential alien propulsion methods. Today, Bob Lazar's story continues to divide opinions and provoke debate, with many still questioning the truth of his assertions and the validity of his credentials. The lack of substantial, verifiable evidence has kept many skeptics unconvinced. Yet there are others who believe his account, drawn to the consistency in his narrative and the specific technological details he provided. Lazar has largely withdrawn from the public eye, but made a significant return to the spotlight with the 2018 documentary Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, directed by Jeremy Corbell. In the film, Lazar stands by his claims, expressing frustration and discomfort about his unique knowledge and the ensuing disbelief he has faced. The documentary has brought his story to a new generation, sparking renewed interest and debate. Some points that have kept his narrative alive include the official acknowledgement of Area 51 by the US government in 2013, more than 2 decades after Lazar first brought it to public attention. Moreover, the US Navy's confirmation of several videos showing unidentified aerial phenomena performing maneuvers that appear to defy our understanding of physics has led some to speculate about the kind of technology Lazar described. In recent years, a renewed push for transparency on UFOs from certain sectors of the US government and military, culminating in the 2020 release of previously classified UFO footage, has added fuel to the discussion surrounding Lazar's claims. While none of this conclusively proves Lazar's story, for some, it suggests that the world might be closer to accepting the existence of technology and knowledge that is currently beyond our comprehension. And so, as we stare up at the night sky, pondering our place in the cosmos, the story of Bob Lazar continues to challenge our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Despite the skeptics, despite the controversy, his tale echoes with our innate desire to explore the unknown and to comprehend the incomprehensible. So next time when you look at the stars twinkling above, ask yourself, could it be that we've already touched the cosmos in ways we can't fully understand or accept? Just a thought. What if I told you that alien technology is not just in the realm of science fiction, but potentially right under our noses? Some say governments around the world may have been collecting, studying, even reverse engineering extraterrestrial tech for decades. And what if we could trace this interaction all the way back to the Roswell incident in 1947, or perhaps even earlier? Let's delve into this fascinating world of UFOs, government secrets, and the tech that could be out of this world. Now, the question that stands out like a sore thumb is, when did the government actually start collecting these unidentified flying objects? The timing seems to be a subject of considerable debate, with some pointing as far back as the early 20th century. However, the watershed moment that brought UFOs into the public eye was undoubtedly the infamous Roswell incident of 1947. After the alleged crash of a UFO near Roswell, New Mexico, many UFO researchers and enthusiasts believe that the US government initiated a concerted effort to recover and study extraterrestrial technology. This is where things get murky. Official records deny the presence of any extraterrestrial artifact, explaining the incident as the crash of a high-altitude surveillance balloon. However, theorists and witnesses insist that there was a cover-up. The years that followed the Roswell incident saw an increase in reported UFO sightings, not just in the US but around the globe. Many believe this marked the beginning of covert government programs designed to acquire, study, and potentially reverse engineer extraterrestrial technology. Through the Cold War and the space race right into the 21st century, the narrative of governmental involvement with UFOs and potential alien technology has persisted. Enter Philip J. Corso, a name synonymous with the most famous alleged UFO incident in history. The Roswell incident of 1947. Corso, a former US Army colonel, shook the world with his claims in the book The Day After Roswell. According to Corso, he was entrusted with foreign technology recovered from the Roswell crash. He alleged that the US government had reverse-engineered this technology and then seeded it into the private sector, with Corso playing a pivotal role in the process. But what exactly was this foreign technology? Corso described artifacts such as a thin, clear material like plastic, reminiscent of the integrated circuits used in our modern computers. He also wrote of fiber optics, lasers, super tenacity fibers that led to the development of Kevlar and other advanced technology that was apparently far beyond human capability at the time. He even claimed that the Roswell craft itself was a kind of lifeboat for the alien crew and was designed to interface with them directly. Now, that's a thought to send chills down your spine, isn't it? A spaceship not just controlled by the creatures, but an actual part of them. However, skeptics have challenged Corso's claims, pointing to discrepancies in his accounts and citing the rapid pace of human technological advancement as a more plausible explanation for these innovations. But Corso's tale is just one piece of the puzzle. Let's dive deeper, shall we? Now, you might be thinking, if this is all true, why doesn't the government just come out and say it? Well, believe it or not, they kind of have. Over the past few years, government agencies, particularly in the United States, have been more forthcoming about the UFO phenomenon. In 2020, the US Department of Defense officially released 3 short videos showing unidentified aerial phenomena. These were captured by Navy pilots during training flights between 2004 and 2015. Each of the videos showcases fast-moving, oblong objects racing through the sky and performing maneuvers that seem to defy our understanding of physics. The government's acknowledgement of these videos as real, unidentified objects is a big deal. It's the closest we've come to an official admission that there are things in our skies that our best military and scientific minds can't explain. Then, there's the Pentagon's UAP task force, established in 2020 with a mandate to investigate sightings of unexplained aerial vehicles by military personnel. So while they're not saying, hey, we've got aliens, they're certainly saying, hey, there's something weird in the sky and we don't know what it is. But this acknowledgement doesn't tell us what these unidentified objects are, where they come from, or who, or what is controlling them. But it's a step towards transparency that was unthinkable even a decade ago. Could it be possible that this is a slow, calculated strategy to prepare us for something bigger, to acclimate us to the reality of the unknown? Perhaps. But for now, we're left with more questions than answers. So, let's explore further. After all, the best is yet to come. But how long have governments been aware of this alien phenomenon? And when did contact supposedly occur? Let's delve into that. According to some researchers and theorists, contact with extraterrestrial life may have started much earlier than we think. Reports of sightings and encounters date back centuries, with many ancient civilizations attributing their advancements to the sky gods. But when we talk about modern times, things start to get a bit more concrete, albeit still largely speculative. Some theorists point to the events of 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico as a significant turning point. They claimed that a crash involving an extraterrestrial spacecraft occurred and that the US government recovered debris and even alien bodies. If this is true, then governments have been in contact with alien technology, and potentially aliens themselves, for over 7 decades. But perhaps more interestingly, some whistleblowers and researchers argue that direct purposeful contact has been established between humans and extraterrestrial beings. Former Canadian Minister of Defense Paul Hellyer publicly stated in 2005 that not only do UFOs exist, but that governments have been in direct contact with extraterrestrials for many years. He even goes so far as to say that at least 4 species of aliens have been visiting Earth for thousands of years. Similar claims have been made by others, suggesting that this contact has resulted in a wealth of shared technology and knowledge, much of which remains top secret. If these assertions are correct, then we are dealing with a global, multi-generational cover-up, with implications that would shake our society to its very core. But why would the government keep such world-altering information secret? Well, let's take a look at some potential reasons. Now, let's talk about possibilities. What are the potential technologies we could imagine extraterrestrial beings to have? And which of these might governments potentially have access to? For starters, let's consider the obvious: spacecraft technology. We're not just talking about sleek aerodynamic designs that defy gravity. These technologies could potentially involve manipulation of space-time itself. Ideas such as warp drives, teleportation devices, and wormhole generators are all part of this speculative discussion. If such technologies are within the grasp of extraterrestrial civilizations, it could explain the seemingly impossible maneuvers reported in many UFO sightings. Then there's energy technology. It's no secret that we're facing an energy crisis on Earth, but an advanced alien civilization may have already solved this issue. Technologies that allow for harnessing energy from stars, otherwise known as Dyson spheres or Dyson swarms, or even directly tapping into the fabric of space-time for limitless energy, are all within the realm of theoretical possibility. And what about medical technology? Some abductees claim to have been healed or altered by their alien captors. Could we see advanced medical equipment capable of rapidly healing injuries, curing diseases, or even halting the aging process? But perhaps most interesting is the possibility of communication and information technology that could provide access to an interstellar internet, connecting civilizations across the galaxy or even the universe. This could potentially give us access to a wealth of knowledge beyond anything we've ever imagined. Of course, these are all speculative. We're still waiting on solid proof, but if even one of these technologies is real and within our reach, it could entirely reshape our civilization. And here's where things get a little tricky. You might be wondering, if the government does have such revolutionary technology, why keep it hidden? There are a few theories, really. For starters, any new technology that offers a significant strategic advantage is likely to be kept secret, especially in the context of national security. If these technologies can be weaponized, it would be natural for governments to want to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Moreover, disclosure could lead to social, economic, and religious upheaval. Imagine the societal impact of realizing we're not alone in the universe, or the economic consequences of introducing free, limitless energy. We could be looking at a complete restructuring of power and wealth, something those currently in power might not be too keen on. Then there's the potential for panic. In 1938, a radio broadcast of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds led to widespread fear among listeners who believed an actual alien invasion was underway. This incident has often been cited as an example of the mass hysteria that could result from the sudden revelation of extraterrestrial existence. Finally, consider that the governments might be suppressing the information not for our protection, but because they're being instructed to by the extraterrestrials themselves. Maybe the aliens don't believe we're ready for such revelations, or they might have their own reasons for wanting to stay in the shadows. All in all, these considerations paint a complex picture of the potential reasons for the suppression of alien technology. But remember, these are just theories. Until there is official disclosure, we can only speculate, conjecture, and ask ourselves, what if? So there you have it. Philip J. Corso's detailed assertions about back-engineering alien tech from Roswell and the intriguing timelines of government interactions with UFOs. Could it be that we've had access to interstellar technology for decades? And if so, what's been holding back the big reveal? Food for thought, isn't it? Hello there, picture this. A bustling airport with planes taking off and landing, travelers rushing to catch flights, and in its depths, a secret society of reptiles. Yes, you heard that right. We're going to dive into one of the most interesting and bizarre conspiracy theories out there, the Denver airport reptiles. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. Why on earth would an airport have barbed wire fences facing inwards? It's quite a puzzling sight, and one that has stirred quite a bit of controversy. Normally, fences are designed to keep people out, right? But what happens when they are designed to keep people in? Now, this is where things get a little strange. At the Denver airport, one thing that has consistently puzzled visitors and fueled conspiracy theories is the orientation of the barbed wire on the fences. Instead of being designed to deter people from breaking in as you would expect, the barbed wire is angled inward, as if to prevent people from getting out. Conspiracy theorists have jumped on this anomaly, with some claiming it's evidence of a secret underground prison or concentration camp operated by the government or perhaps our supposed reptilian overlords. They argue that the inward-facing fences are a clear indication of the airport's sinister purpose, to detain, not to deter. But those in charge of the airport offer a more mundane explanation. They argue that the inward-facing fences are simply a measure to prevent large animals, such as deer, from wandering onto the runways, which could potentially lead to dangerous accidents. Yet, for those who believe in the Denver airport conspiracies, this explanation is seen as a convenient cover-up. The question remains, are these fences an innocent measure of wildlife control or a more insidious tool of containment? As always, the answer depends on who you ask. Denver International Airport, or DIA, is more than just a hub for travelers from around the globe. This intriguing location has earned quite a reputation. It's often referred to as the conspiracy capital of the world, and for good reason. You see, the airport was built in 1995, replacing Denver's Stapleton Airport, which, by all accounts, was still functioning perfectly well. This raised eyebrows, particularly because the new DIA was significantly larger and seemingly unnecessary, but things get even stranger. The initial budget for DIA was around $1.7 billion, but the final cost skyrocketed to nearly $4.8 billion, a whopping $3.1 billion over the original budget. This massive overrun sparked a flurry of questions. Why was the budget exceeded by such a massive amount? And where did all that money go? Adding to the intrigue, the airport's dedication stone credits an organization called the New World Airport Commission for its help in building the airport. However, there's no record of such an organization existing. This gave rise to speculation that New World could be a reference to the New World Order, a secret society that, according to conspiracy theorists, aims to establish an authoritarian world government. The construction of the airport also required massive amounts of earth moving, which created a system of tunnels and multi-level underground structures. According to the airport's official explanation, these were intended for a high-speed automated baggage handling system that never actually worked. However, some conspiracy theorists have proposed that these subterranean levels serve a far more sinister purpose, and this is where our reptilian friends enter the scene. Now let's take a detour into the world of the bizarre and the unexplained, the reptilian theory. The idea, popularized by conspiracy theorist David Icke, posits that shape-shifting reptilian aliens control Earth by taking on human form and gaining political power to manipulate our societies. Sounds like something right out of a sci-fi movie, right? But here's the connection to Denver Airport. Some theorists believe that the underground tunnels and multi-level structures beneath the airport serve as a secret base for these reptilian overlords. The airport's capacious underground area, the size of Manhattan, they claim, provides ample room for a hidden city, or rather a hidden reptilian lair. And while we're down here in the basement of conjecture, let's add another layer to this conspiracy cake. Some proponents of the reptilian theory also suggest that the alleged subterranean city is not just a lair, but a massive covert genetics lab. Here, they say, human and reptilian DNA are combined to produce hybrid beings that walk among us, undetected. Naturally, these theories are met with a healthy dose of skepticism by most, but that doesn't stop the speculation. And it's not just the underground structure that has caught the attention of conspiracy theorists. There are many more elements of DIA that raise eyebrows and fuel the belief in the extraordinary. And now we enter the basement, or should we say the supposed labyrinthine network of underground tunnels that exist beneath the Denver airport. If you believe the theories, these are not just your regular baggage handling and maintenance tunnels, but rather, they are home to our elusive reptilian overlords. The belief in reptilian beings controlling Earth is not new. It's a common thread in many conspiracy theories, with some alleging that these creatures are a superior alien species, or perhaps even a subterranean race that has lived on Earth far longer than us humans. In the case of Denver Airport, theorists suggest that the airport was built as a cover for the construction of a massive underground base. This base is, according to them, where the reptilian beings live, work, and perhaps orchestrate their global control strategies. They point to the unusually large amount of soil, 110 million cubic yards to be precise, that was moved during the airport's construction. Could this have been to accommodate the creation of this subterranean city? Again, officials offer a more rational explanation. The soil was moved to build the airport's runway system. But for those ingrained in conspiracy lore, this is seen as another cover-up, a smokescreen to hide the true purpose of the airport. So is there a vast subterranean network harboring a race of reptilian beings under Denver Airport? As with all things, the truth might be stranger than fiction, or perhaps it might be exactly as mundane as officials insist. Either way, it's a fascinating journey into the world of conspiracy theories and our own human imagination. Art, as they say, is a reflection of society, a mirror held up to the world. But what if the mirror shows us something unexpected, something cryptic? Denver Airport is home to some intriguing and, to some, unsettling artwork. The most notable of these is a series of murals painted by artist Leo Tanguma. They depict scenes of environmental decay, war, and genocide, but also scenes of restoration and peace. While Tanguma has explained that the murals are a commentary on humanity's capacity for destruction and hope for a better future, conspiracy theorists have their own interpretations. To them, these murals are not simple artistic expressions, but coded messages or even prophecies about a dystopian future orchestrated by the global elite or, in this case, our reptilian overlords. Some theories suggest the murals depict a new world order taking over the Earth after some cataclysmic event. Another notable piece of art is a 32-foot-tall blue horse statue with glowing red eyes, affectionately known as Lucifer. The statue's eerie appearance has led to speculation about its intended symbolism, with theories ranging from it being a representation of the fourth horseman of the apocalypse to it being a symbol of the reptilians' power and influence. Interestingly, the artist of the statue, Luis Jimenez, was killed when a section of the sculpture fell on him during construction. This unfortunate event has only served to fuel the conspiracies surrounding the airport's artworks. But is there a hidden meaning in these artworks, a message to be decoded? Or is it just art, meant to provoke thought and discussion? The answer, like many things at Denver Airport, remains shrouded in mystery. Finally, let's gaze into the future. Denver International Airport, despite, or perhaps because of all the conspiracy theories, has become a cultural icon, and the airport authorities aren't shying away from it. In fact, they're embracing the theories, turning them into a marketing tool, and using them to fuel intrigue and tourism. In 2016, the airport even held a month-long exhibit on the conspiracy theories, complete with a talking gargoyle that joked with travelers about the airport's supposed secrets. The airport's official website has a section dedicated to debunking the rumors, but it does so with a wink, maintaining the sense of mystery. They've also used the theories in construction signs when the airport was undergoing renovations, signs reading construction or cover up, and what's happening behind this wall, gargoyle breeding ground, top secret Freemason meeting, appeared around the airport. Far from quashing the rumors, these actions have only added fuel to the fire. So what does the future hold for the Denver Airport conspiracy theories? As long as there's an airport with unusual art, mysterious symbols, and a complex network of underground tunnels, it seems there will always be someone wondering what really lies beneath. And isn't that the beauty of human curiosity? The quest for answers, the yearning for truth, the lure of the unknown, it's all part of the journey. In the end, the Denver Airport and its associated conspiracy theories serve as a reminder that our world is full of mystery and intrigue, whether real or imagined, and that's a world well worth exploring. After all, where would we be without a little mystery in our lives? There you have it, folks. From the construction of the largest airport in the United States by total land area, to the intricate murals and statues, all the way to the inward-facing barbed wire and the supposed reptilian base, Denver International Airport has carved a unique space for itself in the annals of conspiracy theory lore. In an era where everything is a Google search away, it's refreshing and a little exciting to have some mysteries left in the world. And while we've explored some of the most popular theories about Denver Airport, remember, the truth is often elusive and in some cases far stranger than fiction. Of course, all of these theories are just that, theories. As humans, we love a good story, and the Denver Airport gives us plenty to speculate on. But next time you're rushing to catch a flight, spare a thought for the possible reptilian inhabitants beneath your feet. Or better yet, take a moment to appreciate the unique artwork that sparks these fascinating conversations. Have you ever wondered how we made such monumental leaps in technology in such a short span of time? From the silicon-based integrated circuit chips that drive our digital world to the Kevlar that protects lives daily, our technological prowess has soared. But what if I told you there might be more to it? What if some of our revolutionary inventions were not solely the result of human ingenuity, but were rather gifted to us by extraterrestrial entities? Let's explore this fascinating and controversial theory. It's hard to understate just how revolutionary the transistor was for modern technology. These tiny devices, which can amplify or switch electronic signals and electrical power, are everywhere. They are the building blocks of all our modern digital devices, from computers to smartphones, all the way to our most advanced supercomputers. In short, they have defined the digital age. The origins of the transistor, however, are the subject of some debate. Officially, the invention is attributed to three American physicists at Bell Labs, John Bardeen, Walter Brattain, and William Shockley, who shared the 1956 Nobel Prize in Physics for their invention. They certainly did the hard scientific work, painstakingly researching semiconductors and experimenting with germanium and silicon to eventually create the first point-contact transistor in 1947. However, those who propose that the transistor was reverse-engineered from alien technology point to a curious coincidence. The development and subsequent patenting of the transistor occurred shortly after the infamous Roswell incident in 1947, when a UFO is said to have crashed in New Mexico. The timing has led some to suggest that the rapid development of the transistor was spurred by reverse engineering technology recovered from the crash. Supporters of this theory point out that the transistor represented a massive leap forward in technology, seemingly appearing out of nowhere. They argue that such a major advancement seems unlikely without some form of external input, in this case, extraterrestrial technology. Detractors, however, contend that the development of the transistor was a natural evolution of our understanding of physics and electronics, building upon years of prior research. The truth, as always, may lie somewhere in between. Whether spurred by human ingenuity, alien tech, or a combination of both, the transistor's impact on our world is undeniable. Another technological marvel that is often suggested to be a product of alien reverse engineering is Kevlar, a high-strength material best known for its use in bulletproof vests. Kevlar is 5 times stronger than steel, yet it's also lightweight, making it ideal for personal protective equipment, as well as a host of other industrial applications. The creation of Kevlar is officially attributed to Polish-American chemist Stephanie Kwolek, who was working for the DuPont company in the 1960s. Her work in liquid crystalline polymers led to the accidental discovery of Kevlar's incredible strength and durability. But what if there's more to this story? In the world of UFO lore, there are theories that suggest Kevlar's origins might not be as straightforward as they seem. Some posit that Kevlar's creation might have been guided, directly or indirectly, by access to alien technology. According to this theory, studying alien technology could have propelled our understanding of materials science forward, leading to the development of Kevlar. How might this have worked? Well, if we consider the supposed crash of a UFO near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, it's suggested that the debris recovered was made of a material that was both incredibly light and nearly indestructible. Such characteristics are strikingly similar to Kevlar's. Could Kwolek's research have been influenced by insights gained from studying this wreckage? This doesn't stop enthusiasts from speculating, however, as it's a tantalizing idea to think that our modern technology might have otherworldly origins. After all, the gap between science fiction and science fact can sometimes be surprisingly narrow. Given the alleged secrecy surrounding reverse engineering alien technology, it's no surprise that identifying the exact locations where this process supposedly occurs is challenging. However, there are a few sites frequently mentioned by those who follow the trail of extraterrestrial tech. One name that almost always comes up in discussions of reverse engineering: Alien technology is Area 51. Located in the remote Nevada desert, Area 51 has been the subject of UFO and alien theories for decades. Bob Lazar, a physicist who claims to have worked at a sublocation of Area 51 known as S4, has stated that he worked on reverse engineering alien spacecraft there. If Lazar's accounts are accurate, Area 51 could very well be a hub for such clandestine operations. In addition to Area 51, there are mentions of other secretive military and research facilities in the US and around the world. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, for instance, is often associated with the Roswell incident. It's thought that wreckage from the crashed UFO was transported there for study. Overseas, Kapustin Yar, often referred to as Russia's Area 51, is rumored to have been involved in similar operations. Located in Astrakhan Oblast, near the Kazakhstan border, the military base has been shrouded in secrecy since its establishment by the Soviet Union in 1946. Then there's Pine Gap in Australia, a joint US-Australian satellite surveillance base. Some believe that Pine Gap may also be involved in reverse engineering extraterrestrial tech, based on its high level of secrecy and strategic importance to the US military. Bob Lazar, a figure synonymous with Area 51 and alien technology, once claimed to work at a site called S4, located a short distance south of the infamous Nevada base. But Lazar's job wasn't your run-of-the-mill government gig. As per his account, he was tasked with reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology. Lazar, a physicist by training, allegedly worked with a team to understand and potentially replicate the propulsion systems of 9 different spacecraft that he claimed were of extraterrestrial origin. He stated that these crafts employed a technology that harnessed gravity itself, using a substance Lazar referred to as Element 115, which was unknown to science at the time of his claims. Element 115, or Moscovium as it is now known, was officially recognized by the scientific community years later in 2003. However, it doesn't possess the properties that Lazar attributed to it, adding a layer of controversy to his claims. Within the labyrinth of the S4 facility, as Lazar described, were 9 hangar-like doors built into the side of a mountain, each one a storehouse for alien spacecraft. In one instance, Lazar recounted a moment where he was allowed to step inside one of these vehicles, dubbed the Sport Model. He described it as a seamless metallic object, both remarkable and eerie in its otherworldly simplicity. Lazar's claims are often met with skepticism, especially as no concrete evidence has been provided to back up his story. Government records of his education and employment were also seemingly non-existent, making it even harder for many to believe his tales. Yet, his detailed account continues to capture the imagination of those intrigued by the potential for human interaction with extraterrestrial technology. So, does S4 house the secrets of alien engineering, or is it merely the epicenter of a well-spun myth? As is often the case when dealing with stories of this nature, the truth remains elusive. Yet, the questions posed and the fascination stoked by these tales keep the discussion of alien technology alive and thriving. Philip J. Corso, a name that rings quite familiar in the realm of ufology and extraterrestrial encounters, claimed to have direct knowledge of the government's secretive endeavors into alien technology. His controversial book, The Day After Roswell, sent shockwaves through the scientific and ufological communities, becoming a cornerstone for those who believe in the conspiracy of government suppression of alien technology. According to Corso, a retired US Army colonel, he was directly involved in the research and development program that reverse-engineered alien technology retrieved from the infamous Roswell crash in 1947. He alleges that he was assigned to a Pentagon project under the command of Lieutenant General Arthur Trudeau, whose task was to filter Roswell technology into the mainstream through defense contractors without raising public awareness about the alien origins of the tech. Among the technologies Corso claimed to have worked on were integrated circuit chips, fiber optics, and lasers. Technologies that have since revolutionized our lives in ways we couldn't imagine in the pre-Roswell era. He argued that these advances were not simply the result of human progress, but were significantly accelerated by the study of alien tech. Corso also claimed that night vision technology was developed through the reverse engineering of alien optical systems. He proposed that extraterrestrial entities had superior night vision, which humans tried to replicate by examining the biomechanics of retrieved alien eyes. Critics have challenged Corso's assertions due to the lack of documented proof and the convenient timing of his revelations, coming forth many decades after the purported events. But the startling specificity of his claims continues to ignite interest and debate. True or not, Corso's accounts continue to add fuel to the conversation surrounding the possibilities of reverse-engineered alien technology and its implications for our understanding of human technological development. And as always, thanks for watching. It's indeed intriguing to consider how our technological advancements could be intertwined with extraterrestrial phenomena. From alleged facilities like Area 51 and S4, to claims made by people like Bob Lazar and Philip J. Corso, the stories and theories around alien tech are never-ending. But regardless of whether these assertions hold any weight, they surely open up a world of imagination and curiosity, urging us to question, explore, and keep an open mind. So the next time you use your smartphone or see a bulletproof vest, just remember, it may not be all human ingenuity.